receive praise for what we're doing, it's a good day, right? It doesn't matter if it's coming from a friend, parent, teacher, or coach. But let me ask you something. What happens when we're not the best? What do we do when we don't receive the praise that we think we should? For example, when you block a defender so that the other team doesn't score a goal on you, usually the goalie gets the defender, right? And nobody acknowledges your role. What do you do then? Or what happens when you work a majority of the time on the research and writing for the group project, but watch all of your classmates praise the one who presented the project and all of your hard work without recognizing your contribution? What about school choir? When you are not singing the solo and simply harmonizing with them, what do you say when nobody notices your great vocal skills? That can get tricky. See, playing a supporting role when we want to be the star can be really hard. But what if that supporting role is what's needed most in the moment? The best way for you to help? These are really great questions for us to consider. And as we look for the answers to them, one of the first places that we should look is the Bible, right? Sometimes our questions are answered exactly how we're asking the question. Other times we can't find our exact question anywhere in the Bible, but that doesn't mean that it can't help us discover something about how we should respond to those questions. In fact, the moments we discover in the Bible can help us process all of our questions and learn who God is and how God wants us to live. Let's check out one of those sorts of stories today. Oh, but before we jump into the story, how long do you think I can hold this bucket? It's kind of got a lot of stuff in it. I might need some help, so stay tuned. So, now you might remember from our last video that God freed the Israelites from slavery and led them out of the land of Egypt. Their journey into the desert was fraught with difficulties. Food and water were in short supply, but God came through and provided for their needs. During this time in history, many cities were fortified with really thick walls and large gates, protecting the people from raids and invasions. But the Israelites were traveling through the area. They didn't even have a permanent home of their own, much less a fortified city. This left them exposed to attacks from their enemies. Before long, that's exactly what happened. In the book of Exodus, we read that Moses led the Israelites to a city. In this area was a fierce nomadic tribe known as the Amalekites. They were some bad dudes. Part of their livelihood was raiding other settlements or large groups of people. They were seasoned warriors accustomed to battle and known for their cruelty in war. To contrast, the Israelites may have been a very strong people, but they had very little wartime experience. Plus, the Israelites were tired and travel-worn from all their journeys. When word traveled around to the Amalekites that a large caravan of Israelites were passing through, the warriors felt like it was a perfect opportunity to invade. And the Amalekites did just that. They attacked. When this occurred, you might be wondering how Moses reacted. Did he take up arms and lead the charge? Did he grab a slingshot from his shepherding days and a bag full of rocks? Moses did none of that. The Israelites' leader, Moses, did something kind of odd. Let's check it out. Moses said to Joshua, "Choose some of our men, then go out and fight against the Amalekites. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill. I'll stand there holding the walking stick God gave me." Yep, you heard that right. While Joshua and his best fighting men went to face the enemy, Moses was going to stand above them holding a walking stick. Now, let's pretend for a moment that I'm no longer holding this bucket. Rather, I'm the leader of God's people during their march across the desert, and I go by the name of, Moses. Imagine this bucket is not a bucket full of random things, but instead, this is Moses' walking stick. It's the same staff that he raised to split the Red Sea and used to strike that rock so that water would pour out of it. Yeah, that one. This stick has no special powers. Rather, it's a tool God used to perform miracles. So, remember that. While Joshua led the army onto the battlefield, Moses traveled to the top of the hill with a couple of helpers named Aaron and Hur. Anybody out there know Aaron or Hur? Yeah? You ever heard of them? Exactly. So now you've got Moses, Aaron, and Hur. So picture those three people at the top of the hill. Moses was holding onto his staff as he looked across the battlefield. And something interesting happened as Moses held up his staff. As long as Moses held up his hand, the Israelites were winning. But every time he lowered his hands, the Amalekites began to win. If his arms were up, they were winning. But eventually, Moses started running out of strength. And when his arms got tired, the Amalekites started to dominate on the battlefield. But Moses was not alone on top of the hill. When Moses got tired, Aaron and Hur would find a stone and placed it under Moses to sit on. Chair. As Moses sat and Aaron and Hur held up Moses' arms to prevent the walking stick from dropping down all the way, they stayed like this until sunset. And when this happened, Joshua and the Israelites were able to overpower the Amalekites and win the battle. Working together for someone else is not always convenient or easy, but it is a great way to show someone that you love them. So as we close out this video, I want you to think about this question. Who do you work well with? Who are the people who you know will rise to the occasion and give it their best? It could be a friend at school or maybe even a member of your family. Whatever it is, let them help you, support them, and love them like Jesus would. We'll see you guys next time.